Hey y'all, so this week my video is kind of a continuation of another video but from a different perspective. It's on words again, kind of similar to language, which I talked about. But what did you do this weekend? I mean, for me, I read a book, I watched a movie, and it was very rainy this weekend and it kind of ruined my plans, but not necessarily. I had other things that I could be doing, like reading a book. So I started reading this book. It was very deep and it literally took me an hour to read the first chapter. That's how deep it was. And I could have read it in 10 minutes, but I really wanted to take some time to reflect on the words that I was reading, to reflect on some of the statements that were given, to do some research about what was being said. There were a lot of different people in the book that were mentioned. I'm like, I've never heard these people before. Let's do some research about these people. So yeah, take the time to reflect on things if you don't understand it. And I mean, sometimes it's really easy just to breeze through something if you know how to do it or if it's part of your routine. But what can you do to learn from that? And sometimes there's nothing really to learn, but there's other things where we just don't want to take the time for it because it's going to be too tedious, it's going to be too painful in our life to go back and say, okay, what can we learn? Or it's going to take a lot of time to retrain our mind to do it a different way once we're used to doing it one way. But anyway, the words that I was reading yesterday, some of the thoughts struck me and I wrote them down. And I think I do want to reread it again, honestly, and see how well my brain can connect to what I was reading yesterday because it was so in-depth. And I'm sure I could pick something else up too. So take the time to reflect on words that you don't understand or experiences that you absolutely loved or things that you can learn from, and write those things down. Because once you write them down and kind of go through a play in your head about what I could do to make this better, or what did I learn from this? What did I really like about this? What did this teach me about my hobbies, my inspirations, my interests? So once you reflect on that, once you have time to reflect, everybody has time. It's just a matter of how you use it. How are you going to use your time to reflect on those important things in your life? And for me yesterday, it was just rereading some of those words, breaking them down, seeing how it fits in the context of what I was reading, and going from there. So it's kind of like the analogy of a toolbox. Tool set, you want to assemble something and you're like, oh, I know how to do this. I've done something similar to this before. Get the screwdriver and nails, put everything together, and it's like, wait, back up a step. What can you do to learn something different? Or maybe there's another way to go about it that you haven't thought about before. So taking a step back and reflecting on it is so important. And then once you do it, things start clicking. And once they click, you're gonna start seeing connections. I guess the best analogy I can give is whenever you buy a car and then you see that car everywhere you go after it, or it's the same color of your car and you're like, this is really strange, like I never saw this before in my life, or I never paid attention to it. So once you start paying attention to those small little things, even though it's tedious, you're going to grow. We're not made for comfort, we're made for greatness. We really are made for greatness. So what are you going to do to reach your greatness today? And what steps are you going to take? Whether that's writing short little notes down in your phone, writing a journal at the end of the day. And all this stuff just takes a few minutes. We just don't do it because we're comfortable. We don't need to do it. But in order for us to grow, we do. So how are you going to do that today? Whether that's taking just a little bit more out of your time to reread something, to experience something differently, and to grow. So, hope y'all got something from this video, and I hope y'all have a gorgeous week ahead of you. Thanks for watching.